in Lahaina where we're trying to grow food. So there is a rippling effect of this project that's going out beyond the borders. The other thing that I need to say is that I want to put you guys on notice that you cannot pass this. I have all the laws on why you don't have the jurisdiction. I know I don't have the time to tell you. I would love to tell you. We could sit down and go over it. But the bottom line is, we are the heirs of Kekau Onohi, who owns the 43,250 acres of Honouliuli. She had the allodial title. An allodial title is an inalienable title that cannot be superseded by any warranty deed. We are prepared to go all the way up to international court if we need to do that to stop this. Our lands are being taken, just not even 1 acre at a time. It's being taken in chunks. And those chunks are the lands that feed all of us. We are all in jeopardy. I am not against development. I'm just for really smart development. Like, why would you stop a rail in the middle of Ho'opili Fields where there's farmland, when you need to go all the way out to Waianae where you could stop a lot of the congestion? You know, and there's so much, you know, smarter ways of doing this. I see that there's politics that's stopping us from making good planning. And I would like to invite you folks to sit down with our families where we can work this through. We want to work with the public and make sure that our lands are being used in the best way possible, as our Kapuna did. But we're not willing to let the foolishness to continue to happen on our lands.
I'm going to have to ask you to come to a conclusion, please.
And now that we're fully aware of what our rights are and the laws that gives you, that makes it so you don't have jurisdiction, we would like to sit down and really work with you. And just so you know where I'm coming from, if you go to the U.S. Code, number 28, Section 91, it describes the jurisdictional district of Hawaii. And nowhere in there do they mention Kauai, Oahu, Niihau, Maui, Hawaii, Molokai, Ko'olave, or Lanai. It's not in your jurisdiction. So, and that's in the U.S. State Code, which all of you have taken an oath to uphold.
Thank you.
Thank you
for your
very much.
testimony. Members, any questions for the testifier? No questions? Next testifier, please come forward. Please. We'd like to
She
move
must
to
have been too hard
discussion.
an act to follow, I think so. Good afternoon. My name is James McKay again. I'm actually here to request that you do postpone this hearing. I actually mainly came here to learn, and I think there's been some great testimony. Obviously, I'm not traditional Hawaiian heritage. I moved from Arizona, which is actually, I'd call it the sprawl state, which is why I'm horrified that this proposal is looking like it's going ahead in Hawaii. I think Hawaii is very special in lots of ways. What we're really talking about is how do we recreate a society that is truly sustainable. And in my experience of Arizona, sprawling urban development is far from sustainable in jobs, society values, anything we want to see. I came over to work in clean energy, so Hawaii is one of the leaders in the nation of clean energy development. We have something called the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative. This development by building is going to have much more impact, not just on clean energy, but everything else we've talked about. Demand for food, increased traffic, increased waste, increased pollution, everything we don't want to see. So what we're talking about is a value and a vision, what we want to move towards. So the thing I haven't heard that came up today, which I think has a lot of power when I moved here, and you can definitely laugh if you feel like it, but it's a'o ma'o ke keoa a ka aina I ka pono, which to me I thought was really amazing. That is, and I think that has a lot of value and significance that has to weigh heavily underpinning every decision that's made today. For the life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness. And I think if you weigh up everything that's come forward today, when you hear about what has been spoken, it's right for who? People that have taken their time out of their busy lives are speaking for what's right for Hawaii and the future of Hawaii. People that are really focusing on, I need this piece of land for my family, or I need this pond, or I want to build this building here. That's for them. That's their own selfish interest, in my perspective. People that have taken their own lives for creating food and a future is a sustainable society, and that's where we need to be as a species, I think. So I'll keep it short. It's been a long day. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Members, any questions? No questions? Thank you, sir. Next, please come forward.
Good afternoon, Chair, council members. My name is Kevin Rathbun, and I'm here because I support Bill 65 as amended for approval. I live in Eva Beach. I work in Eva Beach. My family dines, plays, shops in Eva Beach, and we just want our fair share after 10 years of going back and forth on this bill to get something moving so we can continue to develop and have the opportunities that we've realized over the last couple of years. Now we have a store to shop in, we have a grocery store, we have new restaurants, choices. We have choices now that we haven't had in the last 10 years or pretty much forever. And I thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you, sir. Members, any questions? Councilmember Pine.
The Eva Beach Neighborhood Board you're a member of, but not speaking on behalf of them, correct?
That's correct. I'm here on my own behalf.
Did they discuss the Eva Development Plan with the recent board?
Yes,
past board?
it was voted on unanimously support for the Bill 65 as amended, and that was the second time it was voted on in support of.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions, members? No further questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next testifier, please come forward.
Aloha, Chair Martin and council members. My name is Larry McElhinney. I am speaking in opposition to any elements of Bill 65 that seek to convert prime ag land to residential development. As you know, this issue should not be discussed in isolation. You will be asked to review the Ko'olauloa Sustainable Communities Plan shortly, and also the Oahu General Plan in the coming months. PRP, Land Use Research Foundation, Hawaii Reserves Incorporated, Move Oahu Forward, First Hawaiian Bank, D.R. Horton. I apologize for the label that I'm going to place on these entities, but I call these the pro-growth power brokers. And I address my testimony not only to you folks, but to the entities that I just listed. I'd like to take the opportunity to share 3 visuals with you that I hope will help make my point. And I apologize I don't provide copies to each individual member, but these are available online. This is a satellite image of this island. The white areas are essentially concrete that have been paved over in the last 50 years. You can see that this is a small island. This occurs on the freeway every day. This to me is insanity. Why are we allowing this on this precious, pristine island, or was pristine at one point? The third piece that I'd like to share with you comes from an organization called OMPO, and I think Councilmember Harimoto is familiar with this, and I hope that all you folks have seen this. This is called the Oahu Regional Transportation Plan for the year 2035. And I direct your attention to page 2, and I'll just read from page 2. What makes this Oahu Regional Transportation Plan different? Oahu Regional Transportation Plan 2035 is the first to recognize that the impact of the transportation/land use cycle shown in Figure 1, a cycle that has been repeated many times on Oahu and throughout the United States. For years, transportation professionals have been vainly trying to get ahead of the curve, but the reality is that we cannot build our way out of congestion. And the illustration here is called the unsustainable transportation and land use cycle. We cannot continue on a small island to continue to approve these developments, each one of which puts more automobiles on highways that are already congested unacceptably. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Members, any questions? No questions? Thank you.
Well, I think we're getting down to the last 3. This is Barbara. I'm Barbara Arbitraub for the record. I'm a member of Neighborhood Board 5, but I'm speaking as an individual. I came to Hawaii in 1967, lived in Eva Beach among the sugarcane, Quonset huts, and Uliuli. I used to hitchhike down the road after I finished work at Woolworths and hitchhike back to Iroquois Point Housing. It was all green area out there then. I just hope this is not being rushed through, because in the HART 2014 business plan, they've got listed down here already, Ho'opili side platform, no concourse. They want to have a station there. And tourism is one of our leading industries. No one wants to go on vacation to see beautiful houses in Hawaii on their way to the North Shore when all they're going to be is on tour bus just looking, why are we seeing all these houses? Then on top of that, all the cars that are going to add to that out there is going to put all the exhaust, that black exhaust, on all the food that they are going to have for agriculture, not to mention any pesticides once they do the houses, because of putting tents for termites or whatever. And let me finish with this, something from like Joni Mitchell. I am opposed to this, by the way. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paid Paradise and put up a parking lot. They took all the trees, put them in a tree museum, and they charged the people $1.50 just to see them. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? They paid Paradise and put up a parking lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Members, any questions? No questions? Thank you. Next testifier.
Good afternoon, Natalie Watson for the record. I'm asking you to defer this bill today. You know, I know this bill has gone through many public meetings, and the Ho'opili project in particular has gone under, been in the talks for many years. And every step of the way, I always thought, well, it's common sense that we would not be putting development on our prime ag land. So I just thought, okay, this is going to happen, and that part's going to go away. We're going to keep our ag land because it's so important for us. That hasn't happened, and here we are today, still looking at putting development in our prime ag land. And I have to ask ourselves, does that even make any sense? To take away our good, very good, productive ag land and put homes on it in exchange for, I think it was 200 acres of ag land when we have many more acres already that are working productively? It doesn't make sense to me. And another interesting thing that I found out recently through the Hawaii Kai farmers market is that I really respect these people. They get up very early in the morning, they harvest their goods, and then some of them actually stop at Alun Farms and pick up the vegetables that they don't have, and then they bring them out and sell them so that we have a nice variety to choose from. The other thing that I'm concerned about is this is a development plan, but I would like to see, and I encourage the media to put this together, how many units do we have on this island that are already approved, and how many are being planned, and where are they located? Because it seems to me like we have so many things just popping up, and there are thousands of units that we're adding, and we keep saying we need to plan for people to stay here, and people are coming in. But it's so overwhelming to me. I just wonder if we're really looking at that holistically. So please defer this bill today.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Members, any questions? No questions? Thank you. Next testifier.
Hello, council members. I'm the third Tom Berg alumni to appear today, so nice to see you all. As somebody mentioned just earlier, the life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness. He tried to say it in Hawaii, and I won't attempt to do that. I think today the life of the land is controlled by land developers, and that's what's happening here. Almost all you guys are running for office. You got to get a lot of money, so you need to raise money, and PRP and all those people give you the money to run. I think Ann said she's going to retire maybe a couple of years. Good for her. I'm glad that's going to happen. Carol Fukunaga, I remember she helped us get, I believe, the bill passed in the legislature, HCR 49, and I know you wrote a letter for us for Eva Field, and I recall that. Kimberly Pine gave me 2 certificates when you were a representative, one for Eva Field and one for the Hawaiian Railway, for my historical preservation efforts. So I've known some of you folks in the past. And Ernie Martin, your staff, I want to thank you. You've been very nice. They did return my phone call about this FD1 that I proposed. I couldn't get a call back from Kim Pine's office or from Ron Menor's office, who are my reps. And I also talked to Ikaika Anderson's office, and they did help me too. So thanks very much. Maybe because I knew the folks in the past, but there's some good people working, still interested in the public, I think. I do oppose Bill 65, oppose it. You're passing into law the OMPO ORTP 2035. This puts into law these roads, and the roads go right through the center of the Everfield battlefield, go right through the Hawaiian Railway Society yard, which is going to be a disaster, and they go right down through the 1942 aircraft revetments. You can say that, no, it's all protected, and this is that, they're going to protect. That never happens. Listen, I've worked as a legislative analyst. I read all the EAs and EISs that go on. I follow this really carefully. I'm boots on the ground. I go out there onto the property, and I walk it all myself. And I know what the developers are really doing out there in Kalaeloa and those areas, and they destroy stuff on a regular basis. SHPE doesn't do a thing to stop it. I've complained. I try to get EPA, the DLNR, Clean Water Branch to go out and investigate clear violations of water pollution. They don't do it. This is such a pathetically controlled status for pro-development. It's amazing they don't follow the laws. Okay, let me just go on ahead and say that Kepa Mali, who people have talked about here earlier, Kepa Mali has been a Hawaiian researcher for many years, did work for Ho'okalei Foundation and so forth. And he did the work for the Hawaii Heart Rail System, in which he came up with tons of findings that most of you people don't even know about Honouliuli and about the hundreds, if not thousands, of burials that are out there. And he said that at one of the planning meetings that Ikaika Anderson chaired when we were out there. So there's a lot of things you don't know about Honouliuli, and that's coming to light now, just in the past 6 months. It's published on websites, on his website and on the HART website. And Honouliuli was a 1,000-year-old Hawaiian agricultural community. They grew tons of stuff out there, and it's a traditional cultural place under National Park Service guidelines. There will be lots of problems, I guarantee you, what's going to be coming down the road here.
John, I'm going to have to ask you to come to a conclusion.
Yeah, let me start to wrap up and say there's 1825 Malden Trails. This is going to be another big issue. I don't see that being paid any attention to in this plan. There's the Lena Akauhane. It's the Sacred Hawaiian Burial Area. It's actually on the HART website. It published in April 2012. Shows it's an ancient Hawaiian burial area of extreme importance, not just Wahipana, but extremely important Hawaiian burial site area. And it's all right in the middle of the Ho'opili, which is just a fake name for what really is Honouliuli, and all the rest of the areas down there that you're going to see tons more problems that this plan hasn't even considered yet. And so Bob Stanfield can say that, you know, they've thought this all out, they're going to protect your airfield, and don't worry, John, it's baloney. It doesn't happen. Well, you know, I've been out there, I've seen endless times where they don't do a thing to stop hunt development from knocking stuff down. They've knocked down numerous historic sites. We've seen it over and over again. Nobody does anything. Okay? So let me just finally move on and say...
John, I'm going to have to ask you to wrap up. Please.
Yeah, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you, Chair. Appreciate it. That, you know, it was mentioned earlier about the ag lands. Okay, just real quickly, that water is going to come out of Lake Wilson. It's polluted. I think somebody brought that up. So you can't grow certain ground crops that way. So it's too bad you couldn't have seen our town hall meeting that we had. You would have learned a lot. Okay, and then further, finally, I'd just like to say that, you know, Ms. Pine here, you said that there were 34 meetings, and that, you know, that people heard all this stuff in the past. Well, they haven't. I've talked to many old-timers out in Eva, and they haven't seen these 34 meetings unless they were just private meetings with developers and talked about. I know the 2 neighborhood board meetings, and I know the meeting we had last fall where we brought up the 15 amendments, and Bob Stanfield rejected every single one of them, and these were protections that we were talking about for these sites I'm mentioning. They threw it all out. And so, well, just one more thing, the farmers you don't see here, the ones you did see here, they're all paid by the corporations to be here. Farms you don't see here, they're out in the fields working, or they were gagged. That's part of the deal, this whole Pele thing. They gagged the farmers, told them, if you talk, you're not going to get these other land deals. This is such a con job, really a huge con job. So,
okay, John, I'm going to have to ask you to stop.
Yeah, I'll stop there.
Okay.
And thank you, Ernie. By the way, if you run for office, I will vote for you. You're a nice guy.
You.
Appreciate it.
Please, no endorsements.
Good luck with you, too.
Members, any questions? Any questions, members? Councilmember Pine, John. Councilmember Pine has a question for you, sir.
I want to ask you the same question that I asked a previous testifier that said the same thing. Can you show me what page, what sentence, what paragraph that it says that the EVA development plan puts into law a road going through the Hawaiian Railroad Society yard as well as the EVA field?
Okay.
I have a copy of the EVA development plan for you.
It says that
Now, what
you are...
page and what sentence?
It's saying that you are adopting the ORTP 2535, and the roads are explicitly shown there. And I called Brian Gibson yesterday and talked to him about it, and I said, what's going on here? We've testified about this for years and told him about the alternatives on Coral Sea Road and widening that to 4 lanes.
What page and what
I don't know the
sentence?
exact page, but Ms. Pine, you can find it in there. It says, and it even has a disclaimer, it says, the council does not necessarily endorse this. But by the way, we're passing this into law. And that gives the developer the right to do it, and he could put roads in tomorrow after this bill's passed, and it could be core roads, dirt roads.
Let
and he
me
could say,
share
"I'm
with
gonna
you,
dedicate these
let
to
me
the
share
city
with
in
you what is
2035."
actually in the language of the EVA development plan. Page 426, recognition of these major improvements to future roadway networks for EVA in no way implies City Council approval of these projects. The EVA development plan has strict and includes protection of the EVA Marine Corps Airfield site in Kailua from development, while the study is done to establish the condition of the site and the appropriate treatment of historic resources of the site. Page 3 to page 20. Page 3 to page 22. The plan allows for the protection of the OR&L historic railway, maintaining or even repairing the existing track to the extent feasible in order to permit its use for the historic and educational rides. Page 3 to page 22, a new amendments that we added. Accommodate cross-traffic at appropriate intervals along the right-of-way at sufficient distances from one another to prevent impeding normal locomotive operations. Page 3 to page 23. Roadways and transit facilities should be designated to have minimal impact on historic railway operations. Page 3 to 23. I highly disagree with you.
It's not being enforced. I talk to the Hawaiian Railway all the time, live right over there. I was just talking to him yesterday. They have no idea about what you said, that all
Anyways,
these plans are being made.
just show me
They're the
the
front line.
page
It's
number,
not
and
happening.
then I will
You're saying
agree
this,
with
but
you.
it's not happening. And I guarantee you, what you say is protected is not, because the only cops on the beat out there are SHPD, and they don't do their job. There's nobody else that will protect historic property. It's SHPD's role, and they don't do it. So you're not kidding me. I'm out there all the time. I walk the land. I read all the ordinances, rules, EAs, EISs. I know what's going on out there, and you're not fooling me, okay? So I know the developers are just going to take full advantage of this, build these roads, and declare they're going to dedicate them to the city in 10, 15 years, but they'll do it now.
Okay,
And
well,
so
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bond.
my
think
last
you've made a
statement
point.
is that you should take this back to committee and allow the public to hear your amendments and anybody else's and revisit this thing. It's wrong what you're doing today if you pass this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. Members, any questions? Any further questions? If not, next testifier, please. And anyone else, please line up.